For the rest of this talk, I'd like to speak about the threats, challenges, and opportunities that we face in this environment. Let's start with the threats. First, some of the very business practices we adopted as our own have been called into question. We now live in a post-Enron, post-Bernie Madoff, post-Golden Parachute world. Public trust in the private sector has been violated, and it no longer serves social entrepreneurs just to say, as we often do, and in fact, as I did earlier in this talk, we've modeled our governance and metrics on business. Second, just as trust in business is on the decline, trust in government is on the rise. Particularly in Washington, there is fresh hope that government can play a renewed role in solving the world's problems. Just last week, we witnessed the biggest investment by the United States government since the New Deal. In the US, for the first time in decades, the government will compete for talent. In fact, this Yes We Can government may wind up supporting initiatives launched by social entrepreneurs, or it may step in and dwarf our approaches. Either way, we social entrepreneurs need to adapt to this new playing field. Third, let's consider the building blocks for social entrepreneurship: ideas, resources, talent, partners. We've still got creative ideas, but these other fundamentals are under siege. Financial resources. All right, well, let's not even go there. Talent. I've said this a lot, but we have to get away from this silly notion of overhead. I spent a lot of time with venture capitalists, and the good ones always say that they back an A idea with an A team. Why then do so-called venture philanthropists focus on overhead? My response to the question, "What's your overhead?" is always the same. I don't have overhead. I have people. Unless we find ways to attract and retain the best talent to run our organizations, very few of our social enterprises will successfully scale. Partners. For years, we helped educate companies starting corporate social responsibility programs, or CSR. We made a pretty compelling case for why these CSR initiatives should be part of companies' core business rather than marginalized in a company foundation. Of course, we all assumed that when the company CEOs got it, they would clamor to partner with us. They would use their vast corporate resources and networks to scale our ideas for social change. Well, we were partly right. Many CEOs have gotten it. CSR acquired a fancy new name, global corporate citizenship, and is assuming a larger role in business strategy. But a number of companies learned so well that they've decided it's their own corporate brands they want to promote through these social change initiatives. As the head of a Wall Street firm recently said to me, "I love your work, but I'm not in the business of branding Endeavor. I'm not in the business of promoting Endeavor's brand. I'm in the business of promoting my brand." And look just what happened at Google last week. The company announced it was merging the philanthropic arm, Google.org, into the parent company. They said Google's engineers and technologists were, quote, better able to build innovative, scalable solutions to world problems than those of us who are professionals. The not-so-subtle message: grants to social entrepreneurs are out. So now that I've laid out the threats, I'd like to end by talking about how we should respond. The headline here: we've got to change our relationship both with the private sector and with government. We've got to move away from the mindset that we're these cute kids who are taking food from the grown-up table and bringing it to the children's table. It's time we take our place at the grown-up table. Okay, so how do we do this? First, when it comes to business, we're not just the students learning from them. We also have something to teach them. Whether it's aligning stakeholders' values and interests, motivating employees beyond bonuses, or measuring impact beyond the next fiscal quarter, social entrepreneurs have a lot of good lessons to share with our for-profit colleagues. Imagine what it would sound like for some disgraced Wall Street honcho, to say, we're taking the lessons of social entrepreneurship and applying them to our business. The point is, our best practices, not those of the private sector, can and should become the gold standard, at least some of them. Second, the government sector can also learn from us. As our government embarks on missions that overlap with ours, we can help it deploy its resources more efficiently and effectively and track the impact of its social investments. Twice in the last year, I was visited by the US government, once for help with rebuilding Iraq's economy, and again on Friday for help with deploying soft power in Latin America. If social entrepreneurs hope to achieve systemic impact, then we need to redraw the map and assume an equal role alongside the private sector and government. Third, we can and must compete equally with talent. I've often talked about offering what I call psychic equity to board and team members at Endeavor. This means granting a sense of ownership over the mission and strategy of the organization. But it's more than that. We may not offer million-dollar bonuses or stock options, but we offer priceless personal satisfaction and fulfillment. And well, today, in a world where bonuses are under siege and the stock market is at its lowest point in over a decade, that psychic equity is looking even better. Plus, it can't be clawed back and it doesn't lose its value. Again, the good news for social entrepreneurs is that as a result of the financial crisis, many people are rethinking what matters and deciding to make a change in their careers. At Endeavor, we've been inundated with requests for full-time jobs as well as offers for pro bono engagements. The available pool of talent has never been better. Having said this, I still believe that psychic equity won't be enough. We need to invest financial resources in top talent. We need to get beyond the volunteer mentality and begin to build our A teams. In my own case, we just hired a sensational COO and SVP for global partnerships, both with extensive private sector experience. In less than a month, I already feel the difference. And finally, we need to move beyond anecdotes. Even beyond the impact measurements we've spent a decade debating at just about every social enterprise conference I've attended in the last 10 years. Instead, we have to focus on systemic change. We've got to show how our ideas, with the right investments, people, and partners, will change entire communities, entire industries, and even countries.